They are people without a vision, without an ambition. There are cases in our country where physically challenged people have created feat where we able-bodied people would shudder to even think about it, creating those feat. But in our country, we find able-bodied beggars who are not even ready to earn their own bread and butter. And this we find in affluent families also, who don't mind living as parasites, living off others. A person who goes on the wrong path can be stopped and made to come on the right path, like the juvenile delinquents. Whereas a person who's from this category, the indifferent, it is very, very difficult. He has to be treated for his primary ailments, and then what to be. Now I'll begin with how are we formed. Now this Claude Driscoll is an American author. He wrote the book, The Magic of Believing. This is in 1948. He's told us that we have two minds, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. I'm sure you all must be aware that we all have a conscious mind. What I said was the thought, where the root of all evil start, good or bad. So our thoughts, consciously we start with the process of thought, and then subconscious mind, the source of power. Why I call it power? Because then it starts functioning in an automatic manner and we start behaving in those manners. Now what is a subconscious mind? Like consciously you are all aware, right at birth we start walking, talking. We all learn these things consciously over a period of time. And then they go down in a subconscious mind. Like when you walk, eat, relax, sleep. These are all, you don't have to learn them over and over again. Mechanically, you start functioning in these manner. The moment you are consciously imbibe them, they go settle in a subconscious mind and they are formed. Now the subconscious mind is responsible for the most of the results of our life. Why I say this? I'll explain. They are recurring patterns, same old experiences which keep forming over and over and over again. The drama, I'll explain a few patterns so that later on how we can identify ourselves which pattern I belong to. Like the drama pattern is a pattern you will find some people are in the habit of exaggerating and telling. Like you happen to meet someone on the road who's of this drama pattern and you just ask her the question, how are you? Now this person belonging to the drama pattern will start off with the morning, how she got up, if she had a pet dog or a cat, how the cat did something, and then the story will go on and on and on. The person who has asked will think, oh God, I shouldn't have asked such a question, isn't it? So the drama pattern people belong to, exaggeration, narration, dramatizing. So that pattern. Accident pattern. You'll find people who are prone to accidents in a year, major or minor, at least one. And this, believe me, there are these patterns which we all relate to. Then sickness pattern. This pattern is picked up at a very early age in life. Children especially, when we don't want to go to school, we either complain of tummy ache, headache, toothache, maybe, and then that becomes a pattern. If it is not checked in time, this becomes one of the sickness pattern. Because even then in office, the same pattern continues. We keep making excuses belonging to this pattern. Mess pattern. There will be people, some of them who are very neat and tidy, whereas some of them, the peon cleans the table, next morning when they come, within 10 minutes, you'll find their tables messed up. So they'll enjoy living in the mess pattern. there'll be people who are earning a fat pay packet. Come 20th of the month, they'll be broke. And they'll be borrowing money from people who earn lesser than them. So there are people who belong to this pattern, indispensable pattern. Some people think that the world will come to a standstill if they are not present. Their functioning is a must. So some people belong to this pattern. Dead pattern is some of the people always feel very nasty. You'll find some people, come what may, you go cheerfully smiling to them, but they are always nasty. Life is horrible. Why is the world doing this to me? I wish I were. So people, it is we by our thoughts make these pattern. I always miss out pattern. And of course we have lots of positive patterns also. There are some people who always feel that they are always very healthy. Always in the right place at the right time. There are people who feel that. I'm always making up money pattern. Some people venture into any business and they find that they are just multiplying and multiplying. I trust people pattern. They always treat me well. Whatever I do is always fun and easy. So now, this part of the lecture is when we sit and introspect. Which pattern do I belong to? Like it is very difficult. So this pattern to introspect is when somebody criticizes you, instead of getting angry at that person, if you sit and ponder, maybe some part of that thing what has been criticized may be a true. And when there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people telling you the same thing over and over again, we can introspect and start thinking, maybe I need to change, because it will help you in the long run. We human beings take criticism very, very negatively. Especially when our own loved ones tell us, we don't want to accept it. And human ego, I tell you, coming from some smaller child is just a no-no by Indian standards. Now, how are these patterns formed? Now, this is where the first 5 years of our life as kids is so very important. They are persistent and tenacious. I use these words because they cling on to you consciously. You start them. You don't know whether they are right or wrong. And then they are gone into your subconscious mind and they cling on to you. How it starts, I'll start. Like for a baby, newborn baby, when it cries, it is either crying for a change, hungry, attention, cuddle. So when these needs are met accordingly by the mother or the caregiver, if they are loving and kind, you will find this child gravitating in the same manner. It is here for us to think, like what type of childhood I had. If our parents had a difficult time, at that period, if they were going through some crisis and we had a difficult time, we pick up all those habits. Not to say that they were bad people, but those experiences, the early experiences are all seeped inside, and that is what we become as we become grown up as adults. Like we gravitate towards people who respect us. So as children, if we are given respect, you will find the same thing. If we are shown values and morals, you will find those children growing with values and morals. Because in every heart inside, if you watch a movie which is very touching, like some killing or something bad is happening, a small part within us starts crying. This shows that every individual has a small portion in us which is not ready to see the unjust, cruel things happening in this world. Like if there's a tsunami, or if there's a war, or people are just killed, we do feel sorry. And this shows that we all individuals do have that small part which says, no, this is a wrong thing happening. Self-image is again formed in the initial years. Like what is self-image? Self-image is your blueprint of your life in reality. So the thoughts, what I'm talking about, is a blueprint of your real life. Like we all must have seen the movie Secret. Like it actually says, you keep asking for those things. A person who's negative, who always fears, starts attracting those negative vibes. And why does this happen? Because in the early years, if you have had a difficult time, we are molded in that manner, and that carries on in your adulthood. The picture we have of ourselves. What is a self-image? This can become a whole big lecture, because over here your emotional quotient is very important. Like your upbringing. What was your environment when you were growing up? Along with your parents, school and your surroundings. This is what forms of your self-image. At that time, if you had very loving, nurturing, caring parents, then you can withstand whatever atrocities and hardships you face in your life. How do we start the change? Now that you have diagnosed yourself that yes, I belong to this pattern, and this is how in my childhood, this was my growing up, this all you all have to sit and do introspection, which we human beings find it a bit difficult, but it is possible. Like if you want to find happiness, it's all within you. And I tell you, it comes to surface when there are stress and challenges. That is the time. Because that is what Viktor Frankl did. He lost everything. But in spite of that, everything losing, he thought that he could give something to the world. Because we all have been come over here with a purpose. And this purpose can be served, especially when we face difficulties and challenges. And that is where we have to apply this power of positive attitude. Because by applying the power of positive attitude, at least you are not losing anything. You only have to keep telling yourself until unless the most difficult time passes by, and then you will see that you have learned something out of that challenge. Starts with understanding. Habit is either the best of servants or the worst of masters. Why I say this? Because you start your habit consciously. So if it's a good habit, it is the best of your servant. If it's a bad habit, it's your worst of masters. We first make our habits, and then habits make us. Like I tell you a short life history of Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln started his business at age 21. Failed in his business. Age 22, he stood for the legislative race. Failed again. Age 26, lost his sweetheart. Age 27, had a nervous breakdown. Age 34, stood for the congressional race. Failed again. Age 36, stood for the senatorial race. failed again. Age 45, stood for the senatorial race, failed again. Age 47, stood again for the senatorial race, failed again. Age 47, 49, stood for the vice president, didn't get elected. Finally, at age 52, he became one of the most respected and the 16th president of the United States. So when we see success, we only see the shining star. The struggles and despair is all very soon forgotten. Thomas Alva Edison, he said, I've learned how not to ignite a pile 999 times. Helen Keller, she said life is one daring or nothing. Again, I'll tell you a small story. There was a shoe company, small shoe company, which was expanding its business. And they were doing it globally. So they were hiring marketing executives. So when they were hiring these marketing executives, there was one young man who was hired for a place in Central Africa. Now the moment this job of overseas was got, the family was happy, they had a grand celebration and they rejoiced getting such a prestigious job. The day of departure came, he flew down to the town in Central Africa. On reaching the place, this young gentleman was very unhappy. He immediately cabled back to his company. And why did he do it? Because he found that the people over there were just walking barefooted. There was not a single shoe shop around. He started thinking, what culture? What place is this? So he cabled back to his company that none of our products produced by the company will be sold over here. There's no market in this place. So the company immediately called him back and sacked him from the job. So since they were in the process of hiring people, they hired another young, energetic man and sent him to the same location. Now who can tell me, what did the cable of this young, energetic person read? Can anyone?
Opportunities to have lot of shoes.
Yes, very correct. Because the moment he reached there, he saw that not a single shoe shop around, no people are wearing shoes. So his cable read, send shiploads of shoes of various colors, sizes. Everything produced by our company will be sold very much in this very place. So you see the power of perception. One person who sees the vacuum as empty and the other person who sees the vacuum as potent. So it all ultimately depends on our perception, and mainly it arises from where? Your power of thinking. So in life we have to be so very cautious of the thoughts what come into our mind. Like you I was saying, once you have decided that yes, I've been diagnosed, I know I belong to this pattern and I'm going to change. Now change, it's very easy to say over here. But normal simple habits, even after the doctor saying that this is not good for you, is so difficult. Here again I say, it is not impossible, it is possible. So once we are aware, we are mentally prepared that yes, this change I have to do it, come what may, now or never, I'm going to do it. With this persistence and determination, if you start your way working towards it, you will succeed. Like for example, a person who is wanting to lose weight. So how do you think? That very week he says, okay, this week onwards I am going to start on a diet. You'll find that he's landed up with free invitations, which we humans find it very difficult. But then if you have decided that today is my day and I'm going to resist all temptations, we can start it. Save money in emergency. This is for a person who is broke. A person who is broke will land up with emergencies. But then it's up to him, somehow or the other, I'm going to manage. Like a person who is clumsy, who wears the best of clothes and you'll find that he's dropping on his clothes. Like these are very small things, but they are quite frustrating to people who succumb to these circumstances. The tendency to think the way I am, I can't change. Your old patterns will keep on resisting. They will try to persist because whatever age we are, 20, 30, 40, 50, we have taken this many years to have those patterns inside us. And then when we want to change them, don't you think we should be patient enough to give it enough time? Over here, it is your persistence and determination. Yes, I have a desire to change. Like the story of a disciple who wanted to become like the Guru. The disciple, I am sure you all must have heard it. I want to become like you, sir. So the Guru calls him next day to the river. So the disciple thinks, why is he calling me early in the morning to the river? Early morning when they go out, they keep going in the water. The water level rises till the neck level. The Guru takes the head and dips it in the water. And the disciple is panting for breath. He keeps holding, he releases him just in time when he is actually about to suffocate. So our desire should be to that level to achieve the things what we need. We all might say we desire it, but how passionate you are about this desire. Are you that desperate, wanting to become happy, wanting to become healthy? And believe me, all these resources are there within us. But are we ready to work for it? The moment we take the responsibility on our own self, because this mind of ours is a wonderful thing, if we can control it, you'll have the world within you. So how do we start to change? Never stick to pattern. That is what I said. It's very easy to say, never stick to pattern. But the most difficult thing, but possible thing, we can change if we start it from today. Change your self-image. You're changing your self-image. A few tips, like most of us, at times we know to appreciate others. The moment somebody says you're wearing a very pretty shirt, instead of saying a thank you and accepting that, we'll start giving excuses. No, I bought it from that market for so and so money. Now nobody's asked you for the cost or from where you have bought it. Somebody says you're looking very handsome. Thank you. Learn to give and receive appreciation. We always find excuses. Start thanking. Be grateful. Think positively about self. This is very, again, easily said than done. But if you make it like one of the religious practices of stop judging people for what they are. Because we all know in our childhood, whatever upbringings we've had, and we've become today what we are because of those experiences. So if we stop judging others, we'll find that we are focusing only on the positive side. Most of us, if anything good happens, do we ponder over it day after day? No. Because if anything bad is gone, we'll have the same thing repeated like a tape recorder over and over again, ruining the remaining part of the day. Even if our children, if they stand first or do something very nice, very simple, just being nice to somebody, do we appreciate, do we keep lauding the effort that child has put in? We don't do it. But the bad things are recorded over and over again verbally, or if it is something personal, we record it in our mind over and over again. The same way, the negative practices, what we record in our mind over and over again, can be put in the dustbin. It is possible, because instead of focusing your energies on the negative side of your life, which does not require your time, energy and effort, have those put in the dustbin and start recording the beautiful things around you. Start appreciating the nature. Start appreciating people around you. Start focusing your energy on the good things what are happening. We can see a lot of things what are not good, but then there's no power for us to change those things. So why waste our energy even thinking about it? We'll utilize our energy positively in things what we can do and change. Always picture in your mind, this is the latest technique which people have been very successful. Like if you want to go for an interview, visualize that interview in your mind. And people have received great success. Visualization of technique. Like whatever thing you want to complete before going to bed, create the scene and say to yourself in your sleep that yes, I'm doing that. And a picture speaks 1,000 words. If you do it on a repeated basis, you'll find that those things coming true. And like I said, our thoughts, if they are developed with the sattvic virtues, these attributes, we all believe the law of karma. Because whatever you give, like whatever you do, it all comes back to you. Watch your thoughts, they become words. Watch your words, they become action. Watch your actions, they become habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny. So today's lecture is basically the power of your thoughts. So the resources are all there within us. How much of awareness we have within us, and we can consciously control our day-to-day living, which we all have been taught. Thank you.
Thank you.